I want to tell you about a book. It's called They Came from Outer Space. And not only is it good, it's important and dear to me on a personal level. There are some amazing stories in here. The gimmick of the book is that every short story was then used as the basis of a film. So it has Dr. Cyclops, which became Dr. Cyclops. It has The Fly, which became The Fly. It has The Seventh Victim, which became The 10th Victim. For some reason they added 3 more victims. I don't know why. Some producer said, hey, there's not enough victims in this story. Give me 3 more. Now we got a film. I don't know. These are some great stories, man. It has Farewell to the Master, which was filmed as the day the Earth stood still. You know, the time when Michael Remy was ill and there was a giant robot Gort and you had to say, Klaatu Barata Nikto. That story is in this book, and I read it for the first time before I ever saw the movie. When I saw the movie, I thought, this is familiar. It's got The Fly is amazing. The Alien Machine became This Island Earth, and that became the Mystery Science Theater movie. Another reason making kind of a weird connection, but that's a different story. We'll talk about that maybe some other time. But the story, The Alien Machine, is the first part of This Island Earth, where these 2 electricians, or accidentally or purposefully, sent a catalog of electronics parts. And there's a lot of hints in there as to what you could build with those parts, an interocitor, and they decided to order all of those parts, and they tried to build an interocitor. The majority of this story is 2 guys testing the capabilities of electric parts. Like, you wouldn't think a story of 2 guys testing transistors and resistors and capacitors would be very interesting at all, but it is. I was fascinated by it. The tension built, and then there was the reveal, and it was fantastic, man. There's the cosmic frame. That has got a great twist ending. Check that one out. And then there is Who Goes There, which became The Thing from Another World, but was later filmed by John Carpenter as The Thing. Yeah, you know that one, don't you? Well, it was, first of all, Who Goes There. That story is in here. It's that story of the alien that can become whatever shape it wants, and that every cell of its being is a separate being. That's in this book, man. That scene where they test the blood with the heated wire, that's in here. And I was fascinated as a kid, man. There was The Sentinel, which was written by Arthur C. Clarke. That became 2001. The story is in here. It's a very basic story. There's a nice little kind of twist at the end, and it just stops. But the rest of 2001 is yet to be born. But the germ of that idea is in here. The seed is in this book. This is a great book. But what makes it important to me, what makes it a part of my soul, is that it introduced me for the first time in the 7th grade to my 2 favorite writers ever in the world, Ray Bradbury and Harlan Ellison. Yeah. The Ray Bradbury story is called The Foghorn. It became a movie called The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. I had to look at that. I don't know the name of the film. I've never seen the film. It's got some claymation in it from Ray Harryhausen, and that's cool. But the story is pure poetry. From Ray, really, there's hardly anything else. But I read it in school about a foghorn blasting out over the ocean, the sound of it reverberating out across the waves, penetrating into the waters. And a dinosaur hears it. A being from a long dead era comes to the surface slowly, and he follows the sound of the foghorn, which is repeating in the darkness, and he thinks he's found another of its kind. And he's disappointed to realize it was only a lighthouse. A beautiful story. And I fell in love with Ray Bradbury for the first time I read it. Immediately, Ray Bradbury was one of my favorites. And then there was the last story in the collection. It's called A Boy and His Dog. If you know it, you know why it's important. Okay, it's a heavy story. A lot of Harlan Ellison stories are heavy stories. It was made into a film, by the way, starring a very young Don Johnson. So go check that out, man. But it's a post-apocalyptic story. It involves a boy, a teenager, and his dog, and they have a telepathic connection. Like, they're just roaming out in the desert, and they're talking back and forth through their thoughts, and the dog, whose name is Blood, has a special ability. It can track down women. It scents out women and tells the boy where to go to find ladies. And then there's sex in the book. Shocking, man. Everything else is pretty puerile. There's some death, there's some blood, but absolutely no sex until Harlan takes over at the end, and then it's almost all sex. And I was sitting in 7th grade science class reading this and amazed and excited. Yeah, I'm reading about all the sex in it, and the bell rings, and I just decided I'm going to stay here in class. No, I don't need to leave. I'm going to sit right here in this desk. I'm going to take this class again. I really like molecules. Can we talk about them again? Yeah, I'm not moving. Oh man, but you better believe that Harlan Ellison's name stayed in my damn brain. Whenever I saw him attached to a story or a book, I took it. It's like, I want that. This guy is amazing. This guy pushes the envelope. And there's the ending of a boy and his dog. It's a perfect ending. It's a surprise ending. You won't see it coming, but then you will see it coming once it's there. It's a great story. This book changed my life, man. I chose it in my initial selection of books when I joined the Science Fiction Book Club. You get to pick out 5 tomes, and it only costs $1. You had to pay shipping and handling, which was like $25, and to a kid in 7th grade, that's a lot of money, but cheap for 5 hardback books sent right to your house. This was one I chose. I never regretted that decision. This book has been with me ever since. I love it. And like I said, it changed my life. It introduced me to the 2 most important writers I've ever met, I've ever read in my life. If you can find this book, read it. If you can find a book like it, an anthology, lots of stories, lots of authors, find it. Dive into it. Find a favorite writer, or 2 or 3, and chase them down. Find the story. Find the book. Do they have the most famous story? Track that one down. They have the most famous book? Look for it. Check it out. Buy it. Read it. Fall in love. Fall down the rabbit hole of literature. I know this is becoming like a PSA, but I firmly believe that there are more books out like this out there in the world, and there are people like me, young kids like me, older people like me as well, you know, who need something new, who need something to fall in love with. Find it. It's out there. It's waiting for you. It changed my life. This book has been a part of my soul ever since I got it, and it will be forever.